Hi, my name's Chris, and wanted to show you this wagon that me and my son have been working on for the last 2 years. This is a 1957 Willys station wagon that we found in a barn from the original owner. Um, it was 100% original, but it was heavily used on the farm. And we brought it home, and it was decision time whether or not to keep it all original with the stock, Super Hurricane 6-cylinder in there, or to make it a highway roadworthy vehicle. So with a lot of research online and you of course utilizing the best forum, the old Willys forum, I kind of made decisions as to what kind of motor, drivetrain, even the frame. I decided to do a frame swap. So I went to a local junkyard and was able to find a 79 Cherokee Chief, the Y-track frame with all the axles. That was 500 bucks. They loaded it up on a flatbed trailer and we were off to the races. So we fitted and made mounts to get this body on there as close and snug as what we could. And next was the motor. I had in my possession a 98 Silverado that had a 350 motor that basically had about 50,000 miles on it. Ran great. So that is what we decided to transplant into here. And as far as making it highway friendly, we decided to make it an automatic. So it has a 4L60E. All that being new and modern, we stayed old on the transfer case and put in a Dana 300 with TerraFlex's 4-to-1 kit inside of it. Don't have a clue how that's going to ride or drive yet, but we're almost there. So it's wired up almost 100%. But there is the Vortec motor, and it's the old ones before the LSs came out, and utilize the brake booster that also came out of that Silverado. After several tries, finally found some headers that cleared the steering shaft, as well as my oil filter, and looks like it's going to work out just fine. But right now it ends at the headers. One of the modifications I did is I chose to use a cooler fan, as they're a little bit more efficient, and right in front of my radiator I built a bracket that holds a transmission cooler as well as an engine oil cooler, one stacked right on top of the other, about 1.5 inch gap between the radiator and there. So it wasn't quite the look I wanted, but hopefully that'll work really or function really well. As I'm looking at the front of it right now, the suspension I went with was Skyjacker. It's a trusted name. It's a good quality product. I went and used the Rancho 9000 shocks, as they have that dial that quickly you can just kind of twist and change the proportioning from a stiff ride to a soft ride. And they're very economical. They're not they're not Fox shocks. Not going that way. But yeah, they should do the job. Let's take a look at the interior of the Jeep. I didn't do a whole lot of fancy stuff to, the panels. They were, of course, junk, and I just got plastic ones. And for the seats, those are some seats I found on Craigslist for $100. They are out of a second row of a Cadillac Escalade. They were brand new, never used. So that took some magic to kind of redo the brackets and make them fit low enough on the floor that they didn't make you feel like you were sitting up at the top of the vehicle. Got very lucky. This vehicle didn't have rusted out floorboards or rust pretty much anywhere, just on the surface. So there was no cancerous, no cut and replace. All this was good. These are typical rust out sections. I will say this: the tailgate did have to have the hinge replacement, where you cut off the lower portion, because that had rusted through. My back seat is the third row out of a Dodge Durango, and it's a very tight fit, between the wheel wells, but it folds down rather nicely. Pretty flush too, you know, goes below the height. These are just bicycle cup holders that I screwed to the pillar where the armrest is supposed to go. But very nice and simple. Still need to get some lap belts, as I'm not going to really struggle to put in shoulder belts. That'd just be too much surgery. And yeah. The carpet that I had the guy put in here is marine grade. It's what they would kind of put in a boat. He said that's kind of a good way to go. It's very, very durable stuff. So again, I wasn't going to spend time making my floorboards or the wood slats look really extra pretty. The whole entire inside of the vehicle is dynamatted, and it has in the heat, you know, insulation. As you see, the foil backed insulation on the ceiling. Cheap $10 dome lights, really nice and easy to install. For my gauges, I went ahead and went with Speed Hut, which are nice gauges. You know, going with the transmission and transfer case, I didn't want to have to worry about a cable coming up and having an accurate reading. Speed Hut's gauges has an antenna that's GPS activated, so based off of GPS, it'll give me an accurate speedometer reading. It also has some cool features, which I can't see at the angle I'm at. Oh, I didn't have it on all the way. So you can see by scrolling through here, you'll see your altitude. Yeah, I don't know it well enough to cycle through them, but it does a number of things up there in the LED area. So, of course, going to a different frame that already has the Saginaw steering gearbox on there, I of course couldn't use the original steering column, and nor did I want to use a non-tilting steering column. I just went with Summit's, you know, Chinese-made steering columns. They have pretty good reviews, and just wasn't going to go the Flaming River or I forget what it's called. I Did It steering columns, which are quite pricey. I did spend money on the transmission shifter. It's a low car. It kind of gives it that look of still being a stick, but it's of course not. But it functions very nicely. The neutral safety switch is underneath the boot there. And for the Dana 300, I use JL shifters, which, you know, a phone call, gave him some measurements of what, you know, how this all fit in there. Told him how my transfer case was clocked, and he cut them to the length that I asked for, and had them out to me in about 3 days' time. Very impressed. Good quality stuff. So let me show you how the seat works. As you know, to get into the back seat on these wagons, they're a fold and tumble. This, from right where I'm sitting at, I can reach on the back of the seat, and it just lowers itself to the dash, and passengers can jump into the back. I put that seat back pretty far, so there's lots of leg room. So it's really quite easy to not have to get out of my chair and flip that down and let people in the back or let them back out. So it's not stock vehicle. I'm not a purist, but we want to still keep it looking pretty stock. So I will get the original bumpers re-chromed, and it'll take a little bit of surgery to get the brackets to mount up to this different frame. But we will get those on there. And you know, the original gas tanks were only about 14 or 15 gallons. This is a 19 gallon. It's a gas tank that came out of a two-door, like a 2000 Chevy Blazer, the small, you know, like S10 style Blazers. But it's an in-tank fuel pump, which is what I need for that Vortec motor. And anyhow, just kind of fashioned my own straps and got it to hang up there, and it's not too noticeable. It will be, you know, it's already got the lift kit on this truck, and these are just my roller tires for towing it around, you know, on a tow bar. But I do have a set of brand new 35-inch BFG mud tires. Those are wrapped around some US mag, the Indy mags, which are, people call them slotted mags. As I said, all this had to be cut off the lower portion. That's a kit that they sell commonly at most of these Willys websites. These are not remanufactured. These are aftermarket tail lights, which come with just the reflector, I went to superbrightled.com, bought these little tiny lights, and you'd be amazed at how bright they are when the reverse lights are on. Don't look at them, you'll see spots. So I also have the upholsterer make a little, it's a board that's upholstered and screwed down. And this wraps around, as most of this was all heavily dented. We just decided to wrap the carpet down around there since it shouldn't be affected by the water with all the seals that go around it. There's my apron for in front of the grill. Again, different frame. It's going to be a challenge to modify that and make it look like it belongs there. But even with the seat coming back as far as what I put it back here, there's still ample, storage to put things in there for road trips or running to the store. All the glass is brand new. I bought it from Bob's Glass. I believe that was up in Oregon. And, it's 14 panes of glass. All the window tinting is inside the glass. I want to say it was $750. That's with the tax and the shipping, delivered to the house within about a week. Super impressed. So, this thing should basically be new. It's got new seals, just about new everything. So many new nuts and bolts. If you like what you see, if you have questions about what I did or how I achieved some of the things that I've done, feel free to message us, and we'll do our best to get back to you and give you whatever knowledge that we picked up along the way. Thanks for watching.